That's right, folks. Another episode of the Razzball Fantasy Football Podcast. It is Sunday, folks, and it's a start-sit show once again. I am your host, Bobby Lamarco. Today, we're going to be breaking down the key injuries, the weather updates, everything you need to know to set your lineup. And, of course, bring your start-sit questions. We're going to be breaking down every single start-sit. Key injuries like Austin Eckler. Where do you start Josh Kelly? We're here to break it down right now on the Razzball Fantasy YouTube channel. All right, Matthew Styles bringing it in, the mainstay. I mean, at this point, my Sunday best friend. How you doing, buddy?
I'm good. It's goosebumps every time I hear the intro music, right? And, just what does Dion say? Give me my intro music.
Deion Sanders says that?
Yeah.
Deion Sanders says
Yeah.
All right, I like it. Well, all right.
I'll forewarn you and all of our beautiful listeners. I stayed up to watch that double overtime Colorado game last night, and so I'm a little bit tired. But I've got the door shut. I can be as loud as I want. I think the wife might be making breakfast. So after the show, you two pop on over, and we'll have a feast on the wife.
I love it. I love to hear it. Honestly, man, what's your first? I know today's our big thing is we do start sits. I had you doing some weather updates today. Is there a start sit of your own that's really kind of, you're still thinking about right now?
Yeah, absolutely. It's been all week. So we waited on tight end, and I've got in the two leagues that we normally talk about here, I have Dalton Kincaid in one. I'm not ecstatic about that. And in the other one right now, we have Gerald Everett, who was just laid a turd last week. So the options are probably Musgrave in the first one over Kincaid, and Troutman is available in both. So with the Dulcich news, that we're leaning towards maybe picking up Troutman over Everett. So those are the two that have been bugging me all week.
Yeah, I just plugged in Luke Musgrave over Tyler Higbee. So I kind of have the same situation, but I'm rolling with the numbers on that one 100%. Let's bring in Derek Favret. What's going on? Derek, and you guys both share a league. Is this the shared league where you got these start-sit issues going on right now?
Yeah, we do. We share one league that's been our mainstay for many, many years, and we were the runner-up last year. We want to get over the hump this year, and we'll see what we need to do. But we're plugging away. Good to be back. I was on travel last week. Missed the show. I did catch it for a little bit in the Dallas airport, but now I'm back. I'm ready to go.
Yeah, for the record, we share both leagues. He's just not into the other one. He tries to push back and stay away from it, but that's all right, right? He's just being a little standoffish about it. That's okay.
I provide free consulting. That's about it.
Awesome.
Well, don't we all?
All right.
Don't we all?
All right. Patricio came on early. I love it. And I appreciate it, man, being on today. We are starting at 8 today, folks. We're giving you guys an hour and a half to 2 hours of really good start sits. We also have our big time injury updates. A lot of big names are going to be on today's show because of the injuries to the RB1s, Austin Eckler, or Aaron Jones. Probably going to get a lot of those questions today. We also have Matt's weather update. I haven't decided what I'm going to call that segment yet. Probably going to think of names over the last week. Maybe the group. We'll have a group think tank of what we're going to call Matt's segment as the weatherman. But anyway, all right. We got 3 questions for Patricio. First one is a quarterback question. He's got Daniel Jones against Arizona, Brock Purdy against the Rams, and then Justin Fields today going against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So, Matt, I'm going to kick it over to you first on this one. What are you thinking?
You know where I stand with the third guy, even though I think he's going to have a bounce back. To me, it's Daniel Jones today. I think that he's in the top probably 3 this week. They got shut out. They got embarrassed. Bad weather. Dallas was on fire. I like the bounce back from Daniel Jones today.
Derek?
But I don't have a problem with any of the 3, to be honest.
Yeah, I'll say that as well. I don't really have a problem with any of the 3, but unlike my colleague here, I really think Fields is going to be the one to own this week of these 3. I don't mind any of them, like I said, but I like Fields going down to Tampa, and hey, if if your main man Mayfield can pull off what he did last week, we might have a little bit of a shootout. So that just adds more to Fields. So yeah, I'm going Fields here, and I expect him actually to run the ball a little bit more than we saw last week. So what do you think, Bobby?
Yeah, I'm gonna go Field. Yeah, I'm gonna go Fields as well. It's mostly because Charlton Davis is out. Tampa Bay's pass defense has not looked. That's kind of how you beat them, is through the air. I mean, their run defense has been pretty solid even through last year too. So I'm gonna go Justin Fields here. That's tough for me because I love Daniel Jones as well, and Brock Purdy is steady as anybody can be. But the Rams games have been pretty much dominated by the ground game. If you look at the stats historically, it's been a lot of dominance on the ground for the San Francisco 49ers against those Rams. So we'll see how that goes. But I'm going to go Justin Fields here. All right, another question for Patricio. We have Chris Olave, Nico Collins, and Atwell. I think we all can say we're probably all going to start Chris Olave. Is that correct?
Yep.
Yeah, I don't love that matchup for him. I mean, you've got to play him. You know, Olave, he's a number one. It's really going to be hard to sit him and risk kicking yourself at the end of the night tonight. I really don't love that matchup for him, especially when Carolina, at least in week one, showed that they were the strongest against slot receivers, and that's really where Olave tends to run his routes. But I'm gonna, you play your best folks, but I really don't mind Nico Collins there either.
So there was news late last night about C.J. Stroud having some type of undisclosed injury. So that has me leaning even more. Not even leaning, but I'm fully on Olave. But I need to do some research while we're on the show here and find out what the Stroud issue is, because I've got Nico everywhere and all over the place. And did I mention I have Nico everywhere? So I have to find out if his quarterback is going to be fully healthy and participating today. And then Atwell, I think, as much as I don't think he was a one-hit wonder, he's as close to a one-hit wonder as you're going to find this week.
So Chris Olave last season against the Carolina Panthers is 2 games, 5 for 60-1, 9 for 147. I'm not sitting Chris Olave. And J.C. Horn is out. So that's like their top cornerback. And last week they faced Atlanta. And if you know that Atlanta game, they dominated him on the ground so bad that they didn't even throw the football with Desmond Ridder. So I'm not stressing about it. Derek Carr and company is going to be fine. Nico, the Colts defense is probably my favorite start. Both tackles for the Texans are out this week. I think that could cause some havoc, especially with a rookie quarterback who might be dealing with an undisclosed injury. So I'm kind of attacking that Colts defense this week as my streamer D. And then Atwell, listen, San Francisco, if you go back historically and look at these games, okay, Atwell is the 1-for-1 replacement for Kupp in the slot. Now, I know Puka, he's our boy. Matt, you love him. He's your flagship. But just from where he lines up perspective, he took over the slot role. And so where the San Francisco 49ers have been weak over the last year and a half, year and a week was the slot. So Atwell's a nice sleeper play this week, but I am not sitting Chris Olave. It's not going to happen. And I think that a matchup might be overrated because of what happened last week. All right, Patricio, last one here. Here we go. Perfect segue. We got Puka, Pittman, and Debo. If Debo, who would you choose between Puka and Pittman? So I guess the question is start one. If it's Debo, who would you choose between the other two? I don't know why, but all right, just let me know. Like, pick these guys in order. Let's do it in order. Just rank these guys 1 to 3. Puka, Pittman, Debo. Derek, you first.
Yeah, Debo, Pittman, Puka. I just don't like the Rams are going against the Niners defense today at all. I just don't, despite what you just said. And if I was going to pick either of their main targets, it would be Atwell over Puka this week. So I'm happy for my buddy and his call there with Puka, but I'm stashing him. I'm not playing him this week. Debo first here, and then Pittman second. Matt?
Yeah, and I picked up Puka to start him. I may not do that today, other than my mindset is that the Rams are not going to be able to run the football. So Stafford's going to have to throw the football 40, 45 times. It doesn't necessarily translate to wonderful fantasy stats, but I think that, and if you read the numerous comments on my article, I said Puka is probably guaranteed for double-digit targets. Doesn't mean that he won't go 6 for 45, which is not great. For me, I'm playing a little bit with my heart. It's Debo, Puka, Pittman. I'd also like to see where Anthony Richardson resides with that late hit that he took last week, or the hard hit. So if he's a full go, maybe I'd push Pittman above Puka, but a little bit playing with my heart. So I go Puka over Pittman after Debo is the must start of the three.
So Debo, since 2021 when Stafford joined the Rams, Debo played 3 games against the Rams, and he's gone on average. He's 6 for 115 and 1, 5 for 97 and 1, and then 4 for 95. So he's been very productive against the Rams. So I think I'm going to stick with Debo as my number 1 option here. I actually am genuinely surprised how good Pittman looked last week. Anthony Richardson's the real deal, man. I mean, he is clearly shown that he can play in the league, which I like to see after week 1. Pittman did have 1 good game against Houston last year. So I guess I just think the Rams, when you look at the 49ers Rams matchups during the regular season, the 49ers have just dominated them. Stafford does not look good in the games that he played. So I'm actually going to go Debo, Pittman, Puka in order for this one. All right. We got Colton now. He's got us. Colton, make sure we start we even start like things outside of fantasy football for Colton at this point. So Colton, he's got a bunch for us here. Let's start outside. We got Mac Jones going up against Dak Prescott. Dak has the Jets. Mac Jones has the Miami Dolphins. Matt, what's your thoughts here?
Mac Jones for me, and it's not even close.
Yeah, same for me. Mac Jones. Until we see something different, we can't discount the fact that he threw over 300 yards and 3 touchdowns against the Eagles defense last week. And they draw the Dolphins today, which could be a similar matchup. They could fall behind. They could need to throw. I do expect them to run a little bit more with Stevenson this week, but that game script could change in a hurry, and he'll need to do what he did last week against the Eagles. And Dak's all right. I don't mind him, but I really like the upside that Mac Jones provides this week. What do you think, Bobby?
And plus Brandon Cooks is out today, so that's another ding to Dak Prescott's matchup. Then he's got the Jets, who are just, they made Josh Allen look like a child out there on Monday night. So I'm going to go Mac Jones against the Miami Dolphins. Those games are always kind of entertaining as well. So I like Mac Jones. I like the pass volume and the Bill O'Brien stuff. So I'm going to go Mac Jones there. All right, start 2 running backs here. We got 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers, and a flex. So we got James Conner, Javonte Williams, Zach Moss, Jamar Chase, Chris Olave, Debo, and Tutu Atwell. Let's go to you, Derek, first on this one. What are you thinking?
Yeah, I'm really kind of anxious to see what Zach Moss brings. I have him by default, really, in my guillotine league, because we have to start 3 running backs. It's an 18-team guillotine, so I'm happy he's going to be on the field today. But in a normal league, in a situation like this with these other 2, he's definitely going to be on the bench. So for me, I need him, but in this case for Colton, I'm taking Connor and Javonte pretty easily. And then on the wide receiver side, we talked about Olave already, Chase, and we talked about Debo already as well. So obviously not sitting Chase. I expected the Bengals to have a big game, and we already talked about Olave and Debo and why we're starting them. So those are going to be my other 2 receivers and the flex.
Well, we have our first full agreement, 2 for 2. Bobby, I'm guessing you're going to make it 3 for 3.
Yeah, I agree 100% there. All right, let's jump down to. I like the ones that we agree on. It makes my life a lot easier because then I don't have to. Derek just did all my thinking for me, which is nice.
Yeah,
especially when
it's great, isn't it?
Here on the
Why
West
do you
Coast.
think I have him?
Well, I got to earn my paycheck. I was out, absent last week, so I got to bring it today.
By the way, last week, Derek, by like 9:30, my voice, you could just start hearing my voice going. It was so bad. I was like, all right, here we go. Who's got to start here? So I'm glad you're here to help out 100%. All right, let's get to the first tight end question of the day. We have Gerald Everett or Dalton Schultz. Let's kick it over to you, Matt. What do you think?
I hate it. I really do. I'm not a fan of either one this week, but I probably lean Schultz over Everett. But with that, I'm knowing how much tight end research I've done and how many waiver wires I've looked at and the players. I'm almost positive if Colton is still on the line, which we know he is, he should be able to give us some names that are on his wire that I bet you we would prefer over both of these guys. So if Colton's still on, go pull up your waiver wire for that league real quick and send us about 4 or 5 tight end names and let us know. And I bet you we'll recommend one that's not one of those two players. Derek.
Well, Matt, you're our waiver. You're our wait. Before you jump over here, Matt, you're our waiver wire guy. So who's like some streamer guys that you talked about that you would consider over these two?
I would scream Musgrave over him. Or what did I say? Scream? Is it happening already, Bobby? Am I off the rails?
Musgrave.
I would stream Musgrave. I think the sneaky tight end play of the week is Adam Troutman. And I would also stream Hunter Henry in that Miami game that might turn out to be a shootout. So those 3 I like better than the 2 he's got listed. And the really, 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 really crazy dark horse dart throw would be Zach Ertz, which Derek will roll his eyes at. But it is what it is. Numbers are what they are. Math is fun. Ertz is what they've got in Arizona. So, but we'll see. Yeah. We'll scroll down a little bit and see if Colton throws some names at us.
Yeah, so I'm going to disagree with my colleague on this one because on paper, between Everett and Schultz, I like them both. And I think on paper, all things created equal, they're probably about the same. But what grabs me today, though, is the Chargers are heading to Tennessee. And how do you beat the Titans? Through the air. So
you don't run on them. Nope.
That's right. So we know about the Chargers' weapons. I think Everett has a play today. He's the better play today. You had mentioned already that there were some notable injuries in Houston. That's going to be a factor, But again, I like that Charger offense much better. Their over under or their total is 45 versus the where is it here? Sorry, let me look at 39.5 for the Colts Texans game, 45 for the Chargers Tennessee game. So, everything to me game wise points to Everett since I see them both relatively equal on paper otherwise. Okay, Bobby, you need to break the tie.
Yeah. It's funny. I actually like Matt's answer in the sense of I like Luke Musgrave a lot this week, and I also like Hunter Henry. If they are available, I would pick both those guys over these 2. However, if it's just these 2 tight ends, we're trying to keep things simple. It's Gerald Everett. I do agree that the way you beat the Titans is through the air, but I do think it's more wide receiver focused than it is tight end focused. So I do think that Mike Williams and Keenan Allen are probably must starts this week, and then Everett might get a few thrown his way. I think the only thing I worry about is if you look at the game last year. Between these 2 teams, it was a low-scoring game because the Titans are able to run the football against the Chargers, which slows down the game a little bit. So I don't know if I'm going to be too excited. I don't think Justin Herbert's going to go for 330 and 3 or something. I think he's going to be good, but I think it's more of a Keenan Allen, Mike Williams game. But I will lead Gerald Everett in this matchup. All right. Colton, defensive question here. We have a Broncos, Steelers, Bears, Packers, Lions, and Texans. So the Broncos, I know the Steelers have the Cleveland Browns. The Bears have the Bucks. The Packers are facing who this week? Atlanta, correct? Lions are facing Seattle. Texans are facing Indianapolis Colts. And then the Broncos are facing Washington Commanders. I had it. It took me a second, but I got it. Matt, so what's your thoughts on this one?
As much as Tampa Bay is in shambles right now, I'm not starting the Bears defense, so they're out for me. I don't like the Texans defense because they're the Texans. The Packers going into Atlanta is intriguing because the front 7 played so well, and the back end is pretty tough for Green Bay. I'm not a huge fan of the Lions because the Seahawks can score on offense. I think that I lean the Steelers slightly over the Broncos.
Yeah, for me, I'm going to actually lean the Broncos slightly over the Steelers. And the reason for that is we're not really sure what Washington is yet. I'm really not sure. We've got the quarterback. Can he throw? Is he going to run? We got 2-headed backfield there. What's the split? We thought, there would be a clear line between who get the carries, who's the passing back, but we didn't really see that. McLaurin, he's going against Surtain. If that's going to be a shadow matchup, are we going to lean on Dotson and Samuel? We just don't know. And then they're going to the my house city. So they're going from, of course, that altitude does play a difference in that third and fourth quarter, especially early in the season. So, for all those, qualitative reasons, I'm going to go with the Broncos here over any of the others. What do you think, Bob?
I was looking into this earlier today because I was curious because I think that one of the most overlooked things that we don't do enough of is like these division matchups. We have a lot of data on how these teams actually play against each other. And so the one thing I wanted to know, first of all, Casey Hayward's out today, which is big time for the defensive line for the Pittsburgh Steelers. But when you look at historically, the one thing you need to do against the Cleveland Browns is stop Nick Chubb. And if you can stop Nick Chubb and force them to throw, they usually get yourself into good, you could probably have a good fantasy day. So that's why I lean to Pittsburgh here. So I wanted to take a look quickly, and I had the data up earlier today, and I was surprised. So I was looking at Nick Chubb's games against Pittsburgh since he's been kind of in the league. He's only had 3 games with double-digit fantasy points in PPR, right? So like they've done a decent job holding him down. So I think I'm actually going to go Pittsburgh, even with the loss of Casey Hayward. I think they're going to – Deshaun Watson last week threw for 150 passing yards. The Cleveland Brown defense dominated the Bengals. It wasn't the offense. So I think it's Pittsburgh. This is going to be an ugly game. I think it's like 17-13 type football game. So I'm going to take Pittsburgh here as well. Let's jump down to League 2. All right, Colton. Got multiple leagues. All right, Justin Fields, Dak Prescott. I think we all agree Justin Fields, correct? Good. All right, let's move on. Next one. 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers, and a flex. So we have Chubb, James Conner, David Montgomery, Jamal Williams, Jerick McKinnon, Tyreek Hill, Keenan Allen, Chris Olave, and Christian Kirk. Derek, you did such a good job last time. Just to answer for us again, what do you think of this one?
Yeah, this was a little tougher than the last one here because I really like a lot of these plays today. So there's going to be some flipping the coin. I mean, I'm not sitting Nick Chubb. I mean, I know you just provided a reason where we might want to consider it, but I'm not sitting Nick Chubb. It's for the other running back. I like Jamal Williams, but I don't really love the matchup. I really like Jerick McKinnon this week. To be honest with you, in that game versus the Jaguars, it should be the highest scoring game. CEH should be. He pilfered some carries last week. I don't think we're going to see that. In fact, I think he might even be out, is what I heard the other day. So I think we're going to see more Pacheco and more McKinnon, and now that Kelsey's back, it'll kind of open up that traditional Chiefs offense. So I actually might take a flyer on McKinnon here, if not running back as a flex. But let me go through the wide receivers first. You're playing Hill. There's no question about that. We talked about Olave already, and I like Christian Kirk as well. I actually not as high on Keenan Allen as I am on Mike Williams this week. I think Mike Williams is the better play of the 2 Chargers receivers. So I'll push Keenan Allen aside for a minute. So I think for me, I'll go Chubb, McKinnon, Hill, Olave, and Kirk. Those are going to be my 5. Matt, grade me on that.
It's not McKinnon for me. I don't know why. It just doesn't feel right. I get what you're saying. I think for me, I'm more of a fan of both Montgomery and Jamal Williams. And I don't know that Seattle has been able to stop a nosebleed in the last year plus. I don't want to start Montgomery, so I'm not going to. I think I lean Nick Chubb and Jamal Williams. Williams is more about volume, right? He got so many touches in week 1. He's going to continue to get those types of touches. And I'm with you on the receivers. I'm higher on Mike Williams this week. So Hill and Olave as receivers with Kirk at the flex in the high-scoring game. The Jags are going to have to throw to compete against the Chiefs. So give me Chubb. Give me a coin flip between Montgomery and Williams. I'd probably lean Williams, and then give me the same 3 receivers. So for me, Keenan Allen sits. Now, my question for Colton is this a 6-team league? Or, I mean, what are we doing with a lineup like this? These questions are crazy because he's so deep in these leagues. It's crazy. I'm jealous.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I'm gonna love that wide receiver core when the bye weeks come around. You're gonna be
Yeah.
stout.
I'm going in a slightly different direction here. I think, first of all, when Nick Chubb, obviously we're not sitting Nick Chubb, but the stats were more of just understanding that like they've been holding him down. He's still got such a high floor. We're not sitting Nick Chubb. So Nick Chubb's in. I'm not trusting the Arizona offense until I see more from Joshua Dobbs or whatever they figure out there. And the Giants defense, I think, will bounce back a little bit with Wink Martindale. I think Seattle, the biggest takeaway for me, the Cam Akers, Los Angeles Rams running game was a disaster. Karen Williams, no one did well. I think the Seattle run defense might be legit. So I think I'm going to actually take a wait and see approach, fade David Montgomery. I'm going to go Jamal Williams against Carolina. We just saw what the Atlanta Falcons rushing offense, which is a great rushing offense. I'm not saying it's not, but they completely decimated the Panthers running game. And the Panthers run defense last year wasn't good. So I'm going to go Jamal Williams as my RB2. Receivers are easy. It's Tyreek, Olave, and Keenan Allen. I know the metrics say Keenan Allen is the slot guy, but his production's like 60-40. He gets a lot of production out wide as well. He actually had a very good game in PPR, especially last year against the Titans. So I'm going to go Keenan Allen, Tyreek Hill, and also Chris Olave at receiver. All right, let's jump down to another tight end question from Colton. We have George Kittle and Tyler Higbee, same game. So what do you think, Derek? What do you got for this one?
Yeah, so I haven't seen the absolute latest. Is Kittle expected to play 100%, or is he hampered at all?
I could check the 6 score on him. He's not 100% at all.
He's always limited, right? He's always
Well,
had something.
yeah. I mean, so 100% for Kittle, I guess is probably the better way to put it.
Now remember, Bobby's going to give you a 6 score. 100 on the 6 score doesn't mean 100%. We learned that last week.
86 he's at. So he's actually, they have him pretty high. So
yeah. So just matchup wise, I like Kittle better. Kittle and Purdy have a connection. Kittle's back out there. He's, about as healthy as we're going to see him. I think at this point, it sounds like. So I'm going Kittle over Higbee. Matt?
Yeah, I'm going the same way, but I just hate all tight ends this week. I don't want to talk about tight ends anymore. Maybe we just give Matt a break, third person, right? Give him a break and don't make him talk tight ends anymore. It's just too much for me at this point. So I'll lean Kittle. I hate all tight ends right now.
yeah, the production. So I just was curious. So like Higbee has been he's had these monster games against San Francisco, monster games. And then he has like 2 for 19. So he's very boom or bust, right? Kittle over the last 4 games, 5 for 10. Then he went 5 for 50 in 2021. In 2022, last season against the Rams, he went 3 for 39 and 1 and 2 for 24. So it just seems like if he doesn't score a touchdown, he's probably not going to give you much production. If we saw anything from last week, Purdy went right to Ayuk and Debo mostly. So I actually am going to lean Higbee in these two, out of these two guys. All right, let's get.
I would push Colton again back to the wire. There's a better option on the wire this week.
I went Luke Musgrave over Higbee. So that was my biggest dilemma.
You screamed it.
I can't. As soon as the fiance gets up, I'll scream. But until then, she's sleeping. I'm not trying to ruin my Sunday. So
wait,
I got a lot of football to watch.
What did I hear? It used to be girlfriend that you would say.
Yeah, it's fiance now. Yep.
She proposed. I love it. She finally stepped up.
Thank you. There's a personal update only on the Sunday Live. All right, this is my last question. I'm going to host, and I'm going to kick it over to you, Styles. I got to go check out the 8:30 injury report. We'll be breaking down all the injuries at 8:45 today. Defense from Colton. We have Giants, Texans, Dolphins, Commanders, Colts, and Chargers. So the Giants got Arizona, of course. Texans against the Colts. Colts against the Texans. Dolphins have the New England Patriots. Commanders today have the Denver Broncos, and the Chargers have the Tennessee Titans. What do you think, Matt?
I go Giants because of who they're playing in Arizona, and then I lean, if you're not comfortable with that, based on what you saw last week, go with the Commanders. Chase Young is back this week, by the way. Chase Young is starting for Washington. He did not play last week.
Yeah, I agree. The Giants are going to be very eager to show that they're not the team that we saw last week. And, they draw a nice matchup in the desert against probably what we'll see as the worst team in the league. So Yeah, definitely Giants. Giants stand out to me here. Bobby?
Yeah, I think the Colts are the one team that I do feel pretty good about as a streamer, but it just seems like the Giants, this is going to be a bounce back. Daboll's too good of a coach. They're in a nice dome today in Arizona. They're not going to be dealing with any weather or anything like that. I think it's going to be a bounce back for the G-Men. So I will go Giants over Colts, but Colts will be my number 2. Matt, take it from here, man. I am going to jump down and check out the latest injuries.
All right, Colton, here we go. League 3 of 3. Let's, Derek, we're going to rapid fire through the League 3 so we can get on to some of the other folks. And I'm guessing Colton's got some follow-up stuff at the end. All right, first question, quarterback in League 3, Fields or Mayfield? Do we even need to discuss this? It's obviously.
I don't. Do you? I don't.
No, I'm a realist at times, not all the time, but at times. So yes, I think it's 100% Fields for the two of us. Baker is fun to talk about, but there's just no way I'm starting Baker over Fields. Now, the silver lining is Baker's probably going to have to throw the football to win. But I think the Bears get right. But
I think that's Fields. Gray. I think that's gray lineup. It's not silver. It's gray.
I'll give you gray. We'll go with gray. All right, so we're agreed. Fields, 2 thumbs up for Fields. All right, so Colton is in with 2 running backs, 3 receivers this time, and a flex. So if the Keenan Allen question had been at 3 receivers, we would have been really happy. So of the 2 running backs, Bijan, Javonte, B-Rob, Cam Akers, Kyron Williams. Think about those while I read the receivers. He's going to start 3 of these: Amon-Ra, T. Higgins, Rashad Bateman, and Quentin Johnston. So let me get – I think the receivers are going to be easier. So give me your 3 receivers first.
Well, certainly you're playing St. Brown, and really love that matchup for T. Higgins this week. I'm not worried about that Cincinnati offense at all. Frankly, they'll be just fine. And this is a get right week for all of them, especially T. Higgins. So I'm not worried about that at all. Those are my top 2. Let's come back to the flex. Let's see if we can agree.
No, it's 3 receivers.
Oh, yeah. I almost cussed right there because I don't have a third.
All right, so let's go. We'll go to running back. We'll come back to the 3rd receiver.
All right.
I agree with your 2 receivers so far.
I'm sure you do. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, running backs. Of course, you're not drafting Bijan and not playing him. He's in the lineup. Same with Javonte. I don't love matchup against the Commanders for him, but he and P. Ryan just about a 50-50 split last week. But the Denver line did give some push. So I'm going to play Javonte over those other running backs that are listed pretty comfortably over those 2, but I am tempering my expectations a little bit on Javonte.
Yeah, so I'm with you. Bijan and Javonte for sure. I know you and I are both high on Javonte. We got him really, really late in our draft, and we're ecstatic about it. In fact, we had the phone, the War Room phone rang yesterday, and somebody asked for Javonte, and I acted like they had the wrong number and quickly hung up.
I actually traded for him in my Guillotine League as well. I traded Trevor Lawrence, and I got a package including Jamar Chase and Javonte Williams to take, because I lost J.K. Dobbins, and I'm very happy to have Javonte on my team. But
I think
again,
we discussed that.
Temper the expectations just a little bit, though.
And I would say, so you've got Javonte and P. Ryan. You mentioned him. Then you have Brian Robinson and Gibson. Not really a timeshare, but if I have to play 2, I'm playing the guys in Denver right now. It's a tougher matchup for them. So we're agreed on 2 receivers. We're agreed on 2 running backs. So we owe a receiver and we owe a flex. For me, I'll go out on a limb a little bit. If the flex is these players and I can't get away from them, it's going to be Brian Robinson based on touches. Probably Quentin Johnston for receiver. However, I think Rashad Bateman is virtually droppable now, especially in some of these smaller leagues that Colton is in, or he's just a great fantasy roster put together person. I would think there's probably a better option on the wire right now than Bateman or Johnston. But for me, if I have to start one, it's Johnston, and then I put Robinson at the flex.
Johnston is probably the 5th target. in for LA this week. And Bateman is your number 2 wide receiver in a game where you expect Lamar Jackson to throw a little bit against the Bengals. I don't love either one of them, but just a sheer play this week, I think you have to go with Bateman over Quentin Johnson. He was essentially non-existent last week. He is the 4th receiver, very clearly the 4th receiver. I actually like Joshua Palmer this week, the 3rd receiver for the Chargers. If he's available, I would actually go try to grab him than Bateman or Johnston. I really like his matchup this week. But of these two, I'm taking Bateman.
And you're flexing who?
And then I'm flexing. Again, I don't love it, but I would probably flex Kyren Williams. I think he just has a little more upside than Robinson and I'm not touching Akers right now. So I think Kyren Williams maybe catch the ball in the flat. He's just a little more athletic than either one of those two, in my opinion. So I would take a shot and flex Kyren Williams to maybe grab a touchdown on San Francisco.
All right, so to recap, we're in on Bijan and Javonte and Amon-Ra and T. Higgins. We disagree slightly on the flex Robinson for me, Williams for you. And then, you know what? I think you've convinced me. I don't love Bateman, and I don't like Bateman. I don't like Quentin Johnston. I think you've got me swayed a little bit. So I would lean, if I had to, Bateman. So I'm with you there. Good. All right. Here we go. Another tight end. I told you I hate tight end questions today. So you take this one, and I'll just tell you if I agree.
Freiermuth against the Browns.
All right, let's move on.
Yeah, there's enough history there. I think that that we can go that way.
Yeah, we've talked about the Titans don't throw enough for us to be real comfortable. Now, interesting, Nuke Hopkins is in today. Treylon Burks is a full go today. That pushes Chig even further down my list. And interesting, the league that you don't like to look at, we're starting Nuke Hopkins. So let's hope Derrick Henry gets stuffed, which he won't, and that Tannehill has to go to the air. All right, so the last question for Colton is his final defense, so League 3 defense. Saints, Bills, Colts, Texans, Dolphins, or Commanders. You have any specific thoughts on these?
Well, I do. I have some thoughts, and I don't mind the Bills, ironically. The Raiders come in. They're a little bit banged up. They don't have their big playmaker from last week. Of course, Adams is there, but help me with his name. Help me.
Jacoby Myers.
Myers is still out
Yes.
with a concussion. He's out. So I think the Raiders kind of limp in. So I don't mind the Bills, and again for the same reason we talked about the Giants earlier. I think the Bills are eager to show. I mean, the Bills defense didn't lose that game last week. Let's not let's not forget that it was Josh Allen that caused the drama at the end. The Bills defense was solid, and they get a weak or a banged up team coming in. I don't mind the Saints here. They're going to where are they? I've lost them on my sheet here. Carolina, right? Saints are in Carolina.
Yeah.
Yes. There it is.
That's a good matchup.
Yeah, it is. You still have that rookie quarterback there in Carolina as well. They're still trying to figure out, what they are. They've got, players, but we haven't seen definitive roles yet. So I don't mind the Saints either, but I'm leaning the Bills.
Yeah, Bob, I didn't know that you were still with us. I know you're working hard on the background. Do you you chimed in there real quick? You like the Saints or the Bills or one of the outliers?
Yeah, I like the Saints. The Bryce Young thing they looked kind of shaky last week. And the New Orleans run defense didn't look good in week 1 against Derrick Henry, which I'm going to give them a pass for because that's like the loophole in life is just don't. Derrick Henry is inevitable. He's like Thanos out there. But yeah, I would actually go with New Orleans here. I think they're going to be able to create some turnovers. I like Marshawn Lattimore's back as well. And then my number 2 would be the Colts. I think the Colts are going to be probably one of my favorite streamers this week.
And for me, it's the Saints, Bills, and I want to see it from the Colts before I jump on board with Bob. So I think we're agreed. Coin flip for Colton, Saints, Bills. We've got two of us saying Saints, one saying Bills. All right, look at me. I checked in early, told everybody we will be with them shortly. So I just wanted to go ahead and get that in front of the boss in case we're looking at Christmas bonuses anytime soon. Obviously, that was me. I can't prove it. It wasn't Derek, and if you ask him straight up, yeah, okay, so he'll admit it. I like that about Derek. He's very honest. All right, this looks like a new handle that we haven't seen before. RTEP 1079 half PPR. Again, we appreciate you coming with the league format, the scoring format. All right, we'll start with you, Bob. In a half PPR, Mike Evans or Brian Robinson? And remember, we're going to get to weather here in a second. Actually, you know what? We're going to get to weather right now, and then we'll get to this question. So there's not a lot to report for weather. I will tell you, Ravens at Bengals, there's a 14% chance of rain in Cincinnati. Bears at Bucks, 37% chance of rain. And if you watched any of the Alabama USF game, there was some lightning in the area, actually struck within 5 miles of the field. Almost a 40% chance of rain, so you got to pay attention to that. Up north in Florida, you got the Jaguars. There's got 33% chance of rain, 6 mile per hour winds, nothing to write home about. I wouldn't worry about any of the other games. So really, it's the two Florida games that you should be concerned with. But I'm probably not sitting my regulars from either the Buccaneers or Jaguars game. Not a lot to talk about here, so we'll get back to the regular picks. I just wanted it to be known that there is almost a 40% chance of rain for the Bucs. So now we have half PPR, Evans or Brian Robinson.
Yeah, I am probably going to go Mike Evans. The Bears secondary didn't look great last week. I mean, I guess it was a weird game because, like, if you look at the stat lines for the receiving core, it was all touchdown driven. Like, Dobbs scored 2 touchdowns. He only had like 50 yards receiving. But they are down Kyle Gordon when they're outside cornerbacks. I think Jalen Johnson, though, could shadow Mike Evans. There is a opportunity there. But Brian Robinson's matchup's like average against Denver, so I'm gonna lean Mike Evans in this one.
All right, Derek, what do we think?
Totally agree with everything Bobby just said. I'm leaning Evans as well. Half PPR makes it a little more of a discussion, which is probably why it's a question for us. So I do appreciate that clarification. Otherwise, it would be easy Evans. But yeah, I'm leaning Evans as well.
Yeah, so that's 3 for 3. All of us are going to go Evans. Colton's back with injury. Bob, you want to go injuries now, or do you want to just address what we think we know, and then we'll touch on the injuries full?
Let's run through a couple of these questions here. We have a bunch of people waiting, so let's get through these questions pretty quickly. I could do they're still coming in, the updates on the RotoWire I use, so we got a few minutes.
All right, so Jamie checks in. He's a little bit late. We will Bob take a note that. Yeah.
Sorry to cut you off. Yes, but to answer this question specifically, Jones and Watson are out.
Yep. So it's Corey Dillon. Look at how old I am. AJ Dillon is probably a good start there. We lean back to Musgrave, right, with Watson out. And Watson's starting to look like the Keenan Allen hamstring guy to me. And as a Packer fan, I'm not a big fan. But so, yeah, that's the news that we have right now. We'll update you once the RotoWire stuff comes out if anything changes, but I don't think it will. All right. Good morning, Jamie. Bob hit Jamie with a good morning. Derek with a good morning.
Good morning, Jamie.
Good morning, Jamie.
Bob, if you would, please mark a demerit. This may be the latest Jamie's ever signed in, so I don't know how happy I am about it, but we'll give him a break. It's still week 2. We're still fighting through some of the show ins and outs. Jamie's first real question here: fire up Roschon today with Foreman a healthy scratch. Derek, we'll go to you first.
So is that a question or a statement? I took it as a statement, and I like it. Yes, I like Roschon this week. He'll get some touches there, and let's see what he's got. I think long term he's going to be the play, and I'm all for it. Get the handful of carries that Foreman or the handful of snaps that Foreman's going to take. Give it to Roschon, and let's see what's going on.
All right, Bob, do we think that's a question or a statement? And do
Oh,
we
from
agree if
Jamie,
it's
it's a statement.
yeah.
100% it's a statement. From Jamie, I already know it's a statement. I okay. Good news that Deontay Foreman's a healthy scratch. Great. Makes sense. But we have to acknowledge the fact that last week the Bears got blown out and all Roshan's production came in the second half. There has got to be some acknowledgement to the fact that Khalil Herbert's still the one on the ground. However, in this type of matchup against Tampa Bay, they're actually a little more susceptible to pass catching running backs, which fits Roshan's profile a little bit better. So I do think that I would lean Roshan over Herbert in a vacuum. And I think Roshan would be a nice PPR play this week. So I'm okay with it. But I would be surprised if Roshan becomes the one on the ground. I think Herbert's still going to be the main running back, but it's great that Deontay Foreman's out. So I do think he's on the PPR map this week.
All right, good. So because it's a statement, we don't have to give a yes or no. We all three gave at least a slight yes. Bob's was a slight. I am actually probably in our writers league. I'm probably starting Roshan over P Ryan today. So
That's a
I
16
don't.
team league. You got to put the caveat. That's a deeper
Yeah.
league. That's a much
Yeah.
deeper league. Yeah.
Oh, it's deep. I have Joshua Dobbs. So insert throw up emoji guy here. But I also have Baker Mayfield, so it'll be fun. All right. Colton.
That's the
Ian
statement
Rappaport.
that by week two, who would have thought that you could say that and everyone would be like, I guess that is kind of fun. Like, I mean, touche. It is kind of
Well,
fun.
who would have thought in week 2 that I could actually still say anything about the guy and it's not a lie, right?
Sure.
It might be a stretch, right? But right now, it's still newsworthy. Rappaport is saying Stroud should play, so we will see. All right, we'll take that one when Bob comes in with his injury report. I know he's still crunching numbers. Tyler, welcome to the show. Good morning, fellas. Good morning to you, Derek. Give Tyler a hello and good morning.
Yeah, I saw this earlier, and I was hoping we would jump to it because he needs to drop Kareem Hunt and get Judy ASAP.
Yes.
Just don't even listen to what we say. Get Judy on your roster ASAP, and then come back and hear what we said.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that needs to be done now because if somebody else is watching the show, which they most likely are, Judy should have been gone well early into the week. As soon as he should have been rostered regardless of his injury situation. Now, if it's a short bench, I get it, but yes. All right. So what is Tyler asking? Bench Cooper. I'm guessing that means Amari Cooper because he is listed as questionable for Monday night. Start Godwin. I have no problem with that. Derek, you're good with that?
Yeah, I'm fine with it. I don't love Pierce in the matchup against the Colts. I don't really love Godwin, frankly, in this matchup either against the Bears. But if you get Judy, I actually might go that way.
Yeah,
if he's able to get Judy.
I would pick up Judy for Hunt and start Judy this week. I have no reservations about that. Bob, any issues with Holt? Do you want to hold Kareem Hunt? Are you the Kareem Hunt truther of the group?
No.
That's
No, you got to
Scott.
get Judy. You got to get Judy. That's an easy one. So but I would take Godwin over Judy just because I want to see how that hamstring is doing for a week. Like if I have a good option like Godwin, I'm going to play the guy who I know is healthy right now. So I just don't want any re-aggravation thing. Plus, like if you look at our matchup metrics, like the Washington Commanders are pretty good in the slot. So I think when you look at both the matchups, neither of them are like, yay, a great matchup for the slot receiver, which both those guys are kind of are. So I'm going to lean Godwin over Judy.
All right. You're going to have to cue up the sad sound effect right now, Bob, from Scott, who was all over the super chats last week. I've got a comment. Yeah, we do appreciate it. So I will tell you that we've got a little bit of a system glitch, right? If you ever watched the movie Office Space, it's a glitch in the system. We will get it fixed. Hang with us for the next couple of weeks, and the system should work itself out. But we appreciate you coming back in and checking with us. Get your questions in, and we'll certainly get them answered for you, Scott. Appreciate you being back. Now, what I found out, this might be Sky's burner account. We always thought he had one. This person here goes by the handle Beach. If you remember Beach, Bob, do you remember that name? From the TCK podcast. Yep. So apparently this is Beach. recently followed me on Twitter. I'm positive, based on the comments, it's not a Sky burner because he hasn't really said much more than hello to Sky. There's been no positivity towards Sky, so maybe it's not a burner account. But with that, full point PPR, Derek, Jamal Williams, Khalil Herbert, or Cortland Sutton. I'm assuming pick one.
Yeah, it's going to be Jamal Williams over the other two, more over Herbert, a little bit over Sutton, especially in the PPR. He is the bell cow right now, and we know he can catch the ball as well. So I like him to overcome some of that. It's a tougher matchup for him than some others, but the full PPR normalizes that a little bit. So yeah, I'm going Jamal Williams over the other two, and I'm happy with that choice.
Bob, you mentioned Atlanta ripping through the Carolina defense. Are you still good with Jamal Williams here, or being our solo Khalil Herbert truther? Are you leaning towards Herbert today?
Absolutely not. I'm going to go Jamal Williams. So I wanted to look at, like, based on adjusted line yards is how our matchup metric that I have on Razzball. It's a great metric to use. It's a great way to view the dominance of the offensive lines without the running back being factored in. And based on week 1, who they faced, so the New Orleans Saints faced the Titans, and in week 2, who they face against Carolina, they have the 8th biggest differential and positive difference in a matchup. So, like, this is a complete 180 almost on the matchup. So I think Jamal Williams is going to have a monster day. By the way, Kendra Miller looks like he's questionable, probably leading doubtful. No Alvin Kamara again. You're going to get a guy who's going to get 20 touches in a good matchup. Give me Jamal Williams all day.
All right, so we're 3 for 3. Now, I may need some – I do. I need some help with this next question. You guys take a drink of water, take a deep breath before I pop it onto the screen. This one's going to be a challenge for all three of us. Are you ready?
Yep.
I don't know what this says.
I just go with it, just have fun with it.
All right, fellas. So we don't know what the league setup is. We'll assume it's one PPR or full point PPR because that was Beach's last question. Are we going to start Mudrick or Anthony?
Exactly. I think we're going to go both. I think it's a wash. I'm going to call it a push. And I think we should just move on to this question.
Yeah, well, you said there's no real weather concern, so let's just throw out Mudrick right now and go with Anthony.
Yeah, it's a good point. So, actually, I would sit or bench is where I got kind of caught up. I didn't know if I want to sit a guy or bench a guy. It's really tight there, so I'm thinking like autonomy or Tana. He's probably a sit, but he might be a bench. I'm not sure.
I'm going to bench both.
All right.
Yeah, because I don't know who they are.
Perfect. Moving on to the next one.
All right, so tell me what the important word in this sentence is from Colton.
Trust.
No.
Trust.
Incorrect.
Overthink.
No.
Don't say experts.
Yeah, I wouldn't say experts either.
Okay,
trust.
I won't even read it.
You don't have to be an expert, but if you trust us we'll put all of our combined tools together to give you the best answer we think. That's trust.
So I will say we may have Colton fooled when he puts a word like expert in there, but we'll take it. Tip of the cap. We enjoy that. Thank you very much. All right. So now we asked Colton to give us the waiver wire tight ends. So based on the previous questions, we weren't a big fan of his tight ends. Do we like any of these names over Everett / Schultz?
The last one.
You had to scream it. Musgraves.
Luke Musgrave. Let's go.
So that's two of us, Derek.
Yeah. Sure. Let's be unanimous here. I think long term, though, I still like Everett and Schultz long term. But hey, this is a weekly game, so I like Musgraves this week, but I actually like Everett and Schultz a little better long term.
All right, so we're 3 for 3 on Musgrave. It doesn't happen very often, so somebody bookmark it. 12-person league, 10-person league.
I know. He's just responding to us asking if you're in a 6-person league.
I want it on record. He's got 2 12-person leagues. Insane. I love it. All right, here's Scott. Half point PPR, Derek. We're going to flex Jamal or Puka. I think we're all going to be 3 for 3 on this one.
Yeah, Jamal.
Yep. Bobby?
Yeah.
All right, Scott. It's a 3 for 3 Jamal for us. You know, we love Puka here at the show. Well, we're going to try to, Bob's working on trying to get him to check in with us because we were the first to call Puka season. So we shall see. But today, we're all in on Jamal Williams over Puka. Mike F. and Bobby, quick quiz. Derek wasn't here last week. What does the F in Mike F stand for?
Friendship.
Football. You made the call. Mike wants to know, should he keep Gainwell or should he pick up Kyron Williams? Bob, what do you think?
Wow. I think Swift kind of probably took a stranglehold on that job on Thursday night. I don't know, man. I just think after the first week, I'm going to stick with Gainwell. I think I like the offensive line better, that offense as a whole, but yeah, I'm going to say Gainwell.
Yeah, what do we know about the extent of his rib injury? Does it look like a 1 week absence, or are we looking maybe a little bit longer?
Let's see what they say on Six Score.
Yeah,
they have him pretty low, but I don't know if it's going to be a multi-week thing. Yeah, they just have him low because he missed the game. So it's a rib cartilage injury. So I think he'll be fine. It was a short week, remember? It was because it was a Thursday night game. That's probably he's got 10 days now to recover.
Yeah, I like that as well. And it's a fair question, after we saw what we saw, this last week on Thursday night. It's a fair question to, do we think there's going to be a firm, timeshare now there in the Philly backfield, or, will Gainwell, pick up where he left off? Where do we get to see? So there's definitely some concern there. But you can argue that there's similar questions in the Rams backfield, and it's a much weaker team comparatively. So, if you're looking at moving forward with the best, I'm say the best running back, but the best situation, it's going to be Gainwell. So I'd stick with Gainwell.
And remember, of all of the head coaches in the National Football League as it pertains to fantasy football, no two coaches hate your fantasy team more than Sean McVay and Nick Sirianni. That's why Nick Sirianni has 17 running back ones on his team. And McVay basically put a fork in Cam Akers halfway through week 1. So this is a tough question. I go with Bob with the better offensive line, the better offense, the better team. So I would hold Gainwell and leave Kyron Williams in that weekly decision to somebody else. Yes, Colton, we're 3 for 3 for Musgrave. So, yes, you have our endorsement as experts that you trust to select Musgrave off of the wire. Darius checking in. Full PPR, Romeo Doubs in place for Amari Cooper. Derek, with the news that Christian Watson is out, Aaron Jones is out. Falcons have kind of a stout defense, good defensive backs. What do you think about Doubs in place of Amari Cooper with the questionable Monday night tag?
Yeah, so I was
unlikely. Sorry to cut you off, Derek. Unlikely to play on Monday. We just got the latest news for Amari Cooper.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's what had me questioning this one as well. So if Darius, if you're still on, you could clarify, because I was thinking that as well. I had in my mind that Cooper was going to be out, so I thought this was more of a long-term play or just for this week. Certainly for this week, that just solidifies it that you want Doubs. Although moving forward, I'm still holding on to Amari Cooper. If you don't need Doubs this week, and you can hold on to Cooper, without any regard for your chances this week, I would hold Cooper. But obviously, if you need Doubs, that we just have the news that Cooper's out, you're grabbing Doubs.
Bob, what do you think?
I kind of want to know what's out there. Like, I mean, Doubs is against Atlanta. It's not exciting. Like I brought up last week, he scored the 2 touchdowns, which is great. But he wasn't like he had 150 yards receiving. That's his big production came from the touchdown. So I actually would prefer, like, honestly, Elijah Moore. Knowing that Amari Cooper's out, I actually really like Elijah Moore. Pittsburgh's a slot funnel defense. We brought him up in our matchup show. And now with Amari Cooper out, I think Elijah Moore might be an interesting start as kind of like that handcuff, wide receiver handcuff to Cooper. So I would like to know the options, Darius, if you got him. Like, who else is on your team? I'm not running out to start Dobbs. I don't view him as he's probably a wide receiver 4 in my opinion.
What do we think about Donovan Peoples-Jones?
I don't know. Let's find
You know,
out.
so you mentioned Moore, and I actually he was one of my notables for this week. I really like him as well, and I like him more than DPJ, as well. So as in my rankings, I have Elijah Moore quite a bit ahead of DPJ. So yes, I wouldn't if you have Elijah Moore out there and you can grab him and plug him in this week. I think that's a strong play as well.
DPJ in 2022 against Pittsburgh, 2 for 42, 1 for 10. So I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to take the leap of faith. I know Cooper played, but still seems like a low floor, really risky. I think Elijah Moore's the guy. Maybe
That was
Njoku too.
Well, and here's the deal: the likelihood of Moore being rostered in that league is probably pretty high. So if the question is in a vacuum, just those two players, and he doesn't have to drop Cooper, I'm okay starting Dobbs as the Green Bay wide receiver 1. I will also lean back to the fact that Musgrave is going to get a lot more attention with those two offensive, Jones and Watson, being out. So we're okay with Dobbs based on this question. We prefer not to drop Cooper, and we believe that if Darius has other options, we'd like to see him because we think we might be able to find a better option than Dobbs. Does that kind of sum it up for us, guys? Okay. We're going to move on. Bob, you want to, we're at the top of the hour by 2 minutes. You ready, or you want me to move on to the next question?
Yeah, Sky just jumped on too here. We have I think a handful of more questions. Like I said, I could do the injury report when we run out of questions here in a couple minutes. So we have a couple more. Let's just keep getting through everyone's questions. And then when we get there, I'll get to the injury report.
All right, AJ, welcome to the show. Howdy, guys. Stuck in the same conundrum this week. Full point PPR. Mike Evans or DeAndre Hopkins. Hopkins just lost the injury designation, so hopefully a full go. Sky, we'll get to you in a minute. Go ahead and shake it out. You've got the rust. Aloha, right? Shaka. The Ducks did what they were supposed to last night. By the way, is the Pac-12 ever going to lose again? Ever? We'll get to that in a minute. Derek, over to you. You like Nuke or you like Mike Evans, full PPR? Bob, we're all over the place. Just buckle up, friend.
I like Mike Evans. We've talked about him enough today, and we know that the volume, in Tennessee is spotty at best. So if Hopkins, if it was the Hopkins that we knew and loved from the past, and in his situations, this would be pretty easy. But again, we just don't have a lot of confidence, and he did shake the injury label or injury designation. That's true, but we talked about it before, and I like Mike Evans better here.
And Bob, what do we think?
So DeAndre Hopkins' 6 score heading into this week's to 60. So essentially roughly about 60 to 65% of his usual production. So if you're looking at like a 15 points per game, he's probably closer to like 8 to 9 points this week. So I'm going to go Mike Evans against Chicago. I know we talked a little bit about the Jalen Johnson potential shadow situation, but Chicago showed me enough last week defensively to not fade players against them. So I'm going to go Mike Evans in this matchup.
All right, Sky, let's test your mic. Are you all in? Are you ready to go?
Good morning, everybody. Yes, can you hear me okay? All right, good enough.
A little choppy, but we got it.
I know. It's airport life. I'll do my best to mute when I'm not on. I'm going to go Mike Evans here. Usually I would go with Bob's theory with Hopkins on 13 targets, but Evans also got 10. Baker was better than he thought, and Chicago looks awful. So I'm going to go with Mike Evans.
All right, so the first question with Sky today, we're 4 for 4. I'm going to tell you the reason I'm leaning is I'm going with the better quarterback.
Brutal. Actually, statistically correct, but horrendous.
I'm just saying, prove me wrong, fellas.
I mean, if you're going to plant your flag, I'm sure that's where you plant your flag.
It's planted. I'm watering it every day. All right, Sky, look who checked in earlier. Beach was in for a couple of questions. We thought maybe it was your burner.
No, Sky's burner's coming up.
Oh, I know. I see it. I may skip right over it, but you're welcome. 2342323. We'll let you keep that handle on the show here. All right, boys, here we go. The Sky burner. What? And we don't see. We think it's a Sky burner, but we don't know that it is because he doesn't compliment Sky like Bob's burner does every week. Like he did. Remember, Sky, you were here, right? He signed in at the very end of week 1 to give Bob some props that were ridiculous. But here we are, the Sky Empire. All right, well, you know what? It's for you, Sky. We'll start with you. Start Joshua Kelly. Actually, John Kelly. I believe that's Joshua Kelly. Or Breece Hall, full PPR. Interesting little conundrum there.
Yep, Eckler out, which I'm sure you guys have covered. I'm sitting John Kelly and Joshua Kelly this week. Breece Hall by a bunch. Obviously got tracked down, but he's out of shape. Big game for him, and the Titans are actually very good against the run. I will pass on the Chargers run game. Big up for Herbert and the boys, though.
Derek, what do you think? You with that?
No, I'm not. Yes, the Titans are strong against the run. The Dallas defense is going to be his top 3 or 4, arguably, in the league. And Breece and Cook had about a 50-50 share. So, what are we going to get? Yeah, he ran well, last week against the Bills, but I don't know if you watch that, at least in my eyes, he wasn't full speed. He still had a hitch in his giddy up there, and going down to Texas, they're going to take advantage of that. So no, I like the game script better, even though Tennessee has a strong run defense. I'm going Joshua Kelly.
All right, Bob, you're gonna have to disagree with one of these guys.
Yeah. It's funny when you're looking at the Vegas lines for the rush props, they only have them at 37.5. And I think a lot of that might have to do with the fact that they are assuming the Cowboys are going to just punch them right in the mouth and they're not going to be able to run a lot. And so I just think Kelly's going to probably have a tough matchup, but at least he's going to be like a workhorse. I think he's going to get all the work because no Eckler. So I'm going to probably lean Kelly here just because I think he's going to get some targets a little bit. And I know that he's going to get majority of the work in this matchup.
All right, we're going to make it 3 out of 4. I'm going Josh Kelly for the same reasons. I don't think Dallas is going to let Zach Wilson do much of anything. I think they're just going to steamroll the Jets. The Jets are coming back to earth this weekend, and it's going to be I would love to be somebody sitting in a New York bar, Jets bar, watching them just dismantle the place when they realize that Zach Wilson didn't win the game last week, that the special teams and the defense did. So 3 for Josh Kelly there, Sky Empire. Here's Colton again. The guy, he's just pumping us up. We know more about football. So, I mean, is he wrong? He's not.
Now, he said foot. So technically we could all be podiatrists or whatever they are. That could be our full-time jobs. Maybe that's what he means. Just saying.
Well, Sky may have stayed in a Holiday Inn Express last night. I don't know what he's bringing to the table. Yes.
By the way, can we just also, we skipped over this before. Matt's like, I'm going to plant my flag. And then he talked about watering a flag. Who waters a flag?
No, it's fair. He planted it. There's a tree right behind me. I'll get you. There's a tree.
It's still a flag, though. It's still
count it. Absolutely count it.
All right. It works for me then.
Semantics, right? If watering.
I get it.
I mean, watering is my verbal watering. I mean, I don't know. I'll explain it to you off the air.
It's fine. Yeah, appreciate that.
When you live in South Texas, you water everything in the summer. It doesn't matter. You water the rocks,
yes.
just to keep them below 100 degrees.
All right, we digress. L. Kraus, pick one full PPR. DeAndre Hopkins, Garrett Wilson, or our old friend, or our new friend, actually, Puka Nacua. Bob, over to you first. Full PPR, Nuke, Garrett Wilson, and Zach Wilson paired up, or our man crush, or my man crush, Puka Nacua. This is rough, by the way. So.
This is funny because Hopkins has the best matchup, but he's not even close to 100%. Garrett Wilson's the best player, clearly, at his stage of their careers, but he's got the worst matchup against the Cowboys. And Puka, I mean, San Francisco, and Sky can tell us, and I think this is a really good question to start with Sky, because like what I've seen is that San Francisco just dominates the Rams in the regular season. And Stafford has never looked good. He doesn't throw for a lot of yards. They look choppy. So I don't think Puka's going to have a major game. I think I'm still just going to go Garrett Wilson and hope for garbage time points.
All right, Sky. He said you're the San Francisco sleuth. So tell us what you think and what you know, what you want to know.
Yeah, that's true. Bob missed a key factor, though, that they also dominate them in the postseason, except for a missed interception, but we don't go into that. Last year and the last couple of seasons, Matt Stafford has been absolutely destroyed, but Cooper Kupp has had great games. Puka Nacua is not Cooper Kupp, obviously, but the receivers might be okay. I just don't think that they move the ball much. Garrett Wilson, to your stance, I don't think does anything versus the Cowboys. I think they run the ball a little bit. I'm actually going to go Nuke Hopkins here. Just with the workload, I think he does okay in this matchup. So love Puka as a player and Garrett too, but can't do it. I'm going to go Nuke Hopkins instead.
Derek, what do you think?
Yeah, sheer probability. Taking all those other the injury factors aside, sheer probability. I'm going Hopkins as well.
Yeah, it's Hopkins for me. And in fact, in the league that Derek and I split, that Derek refuses to pay any attention to, Puka is on the bench with a Q tag. Nuke is in the starting lineup as a flex with no tag. And the only reason behind that, so people don't think we're too crazy, is the Aaron Jones out. That was our play. So we were down to the Puka and Nuke, and we are absolutely going with Nuke. I want to see something from Zach Wilson and Garrett Wilson before I start them. In most leagues where you roster Garrett Wilson, you have to start him no matter what, right? Because you took him in the late second, early third, so you probably have to start him. But Krause has some options, and for us, I think 3 of the 4 of us are going to go with DeAndre Hopkins. Here's Colton again. Understand that it's not it's football. Colton, good luck to you. Check in with us next week. Let us know how you do in the 3 leagues. All right, let's see if Sky was on last week. Sky, what does the F in Mike F stand for? Bob got it wrong.
We actually know the answer to this.
We do.
Oh, okay.
We don't.
No, Bob, you said it last week. The F stands for. It stands for football, Sky. How about this? Dak or Jordan Love, PPR? I don't think PPR matters, but I love that Mike took the step to give us the setup.
Football seemed too automatic, so I couldn't go with football, but that makes sense. Yeah, I'm going to go Jordan Love here, actually. Again, I think this Jets-Cowboys game has like a lot of fun players for fantasy. I think it's going to be an ugly game for actual football. So I'm going to fade Dak again. He's a bust in my preseason anyway. And I think that they do well against CeeDee Lamb. So I'm going to fade him, and I'm going to go Jordan Love. Played very well last week. QB3, I believe, on the week last week.
All right, Derek, you were not on last week when we said the F in Mike F stands for what? I'll give you
Football.
one chance. Nailed it. Christmas bonus incoming. Do I even need to ask you here?
So, well, I'm just going to, since Mike Football is asking us the question, that PPR to me stands for 6-point touchdowns instead of 4-point touchdowns. That's how I'm interpreting this question. But it doesn't change my answer. I like Jordan Love.
3 for 3.
Can I be honest? I would drop Love and go pick up a streamer. I honestly don't like either of these guys. If we're going week to week here, if Dak's going to be your regular guy, then you could drop Love. Love against Falcons. He's got no David Bakhtiari at left tackle. He's got no Christian Watson. He's got no Aaron Jones. And then you got Dak going against the Jets. You need to go out and win. I'd rather play guys like Jared Goff, for example. I'd rather go out and stream a guy like that. So I think, in my opinion, if you go, Mike, you go check your waiver, maybe send us some names. If I had to pick between these two, I guess maybe I would go Dak Prescott because he's a better player.
With the caveat here with Bob jumping in that way, I actually agree with that. If you can find a streamer, Brock Purdy maybe. I would also stream. I like that call, Bob. Straight up, I'll go Love. The Falcons and the Browns are the 2 best secondaries by a mile last week. So the Falcons are legit. on defense and obviously on offense as well. So I agree with Bob, but heads up, I'll go Love.
All right, Derek, I'll get
Sam Howell is another deeper name I would play in this week. And then here's another name for you, Baker Mayfield. There you go.
QB 13, Baker Mayfield.
Not 12.
Almost.
True. Almost.
Not yet.
Almost. Not yet.
Not yet.
God, what a
All right,
world.
Derek. So
What a
I'll give
world.
it back to you for a kind of a redux. Do you prefer a Goff, Purdy, Sam Howell, Russell Wilson off the wire?
Wow, if Goff is on the wire, that's the guy I'm going for, no question this week. Yes, I absolutely love Goff against the Seahawks this week. So yeah, if he's on the wire, absolutely.
Okay, so if Goff's gone, you're okay with Purdy over Love. You're okay with Sam Howell, or maybe not.
I like Purdy. I don't know if I'm on the Sam Howell train yet, but I do like Purdy this week, and generally I like him as well too. At that level of streaming quarterbacks, I like him, but I'm not sure I'm there again with Sam Howell yet.
All
But yeah, if
All right, boys,
Goff
we got
is out there, you got to get him.
Yeah, I agree. Goff, if he's on the wire. I like Purdy over Love for what the reasons that Sky put out there. The Atlanta back end is tough.
Wire's dead.
Wire is dead. Oh,
So no
you mean
wire-
there's
no
nobody
wire
on his
option.
wire. Got it.
No, yes.
Okay.
Thanks, Mike.
All right, Sky, you didn't know this because you checked in a little bit late. Boys, for you that were here when we started, we got about just about 30 minutes to go. I can already smell the biscuits and gravy. So find your car keys, find your Crocs. It's time to warm up the engines. Yeah, the wife is making chow for everybody. Sky, it looks like you're going to be on a plane soon, so you're bad.
No, I landed. I'm good. I'm doing the show before I go about the rest of my life because I love you. That's like I already did my flight. I got my flight in early, fam. 5 a.m. just to make the show, folks.
Derek did that last week, but I don't remember him checking in. So
Wow.
Yeah, but what did I do last week?
You went 0 for 2.
I was the first super chat.
Count
Thanks,
it.
buddy.
Yes.
We appreciate you as always.
Yeah.
Christmas bonus is incoming. All right, our newest Razzball teammate, Jefferson, is checking in. Morning, fellas. Half point PPR. He wants to know David Montgomery, Isaiah Pacheco. Let me get on this real quick. I kind of dig what Derek said earlier about the McKinnon Pacheco with CEH probably either out or losing touches. I'm going to lean Pacheco if we can make this one a little bit quick to move on. We still have questions. Bob, Pacheco or Montgomery against Seattle?
I'll go Pacheco.
Cool. 2, Sky.
I'm going to mix it up. I'll go Demont here. I think that they kind of run the Seahawks, and I think it's a late run out the clock vibe. And I just can't trust the Chiefs overall, who's getting work. So I'll go Demont, but I'll probably be outnumbered.
All right. What do you think, Derek? You still?
Yeah, I was getting ready to flash my 4, but Sky had to mess that up. No, I'm going Pacheco.
All right. Everybody ready for this? There he is. Bob's burner.
James Gannon, greatest human of all time.
And let me tell you what, he doesn't have a compliment for Bob this morning. He's just getting right into the question. And the question is, in a full point PPR, Bob, I'll let you answer your own question here. Jerry Jeudy or Joshua Kelly? And by the way, I'm not a stickler, but I'm kind of a stickler. We're going to have to remember that Kelly has an E between the L and the Y at the end, right? So we want to make sure we're talking about the right Joshua Kelly. So, Bob, answer your own question here, buddy. Love yourself.
I know, you're right. I'm going to go Josh Kelly.
Derek.
I want to say Judy. I really do, but no, I'm going to stay with Kelly as well.
Guy.
I'll do it. Jerry Jeudy. If he plays, you play him. If he gets hurt, obviously he's out, but he's one of those, like, when he's healthy, you got to suit him up, guys. I got to go Jerry Jeudy.
Yeah, well, I'm with Derek. I want to go Judy, but I'm going to go volume with Joshua Kelly. So we're going to go three for Kelly, 1 for Judy. I hear what you're saying, Sky. I dig it. If he plays, that means he's ready to play. So I would move Sutton down, Judy up, but I'm going with Joshua Kelly here. AJ, obviously you're welcome. We're here for you. We'll be here next week and every week throughout. Darius, same to you. We're here every week. John Kelly, we're still benching John Kelly Beach, but that's okay. Sky, I see you're correcting yourself as well. Darius has other options. Kyron Williams, Calvin Austin, or Romeo Dobbs. Oof.
That's the Romeo Dobbs question from earlier. Do we
Yes.
start him for Amari Cooper?
So I think we're not starting Kyron or Calvin Austin. We're gonna go with Dobbs. I think, can we agree on that? Well, maybe somebody goes with Kyron. I don't. Not against the Niners. We okay with Dobbs? Are we this way with Dobbs? We don't like it. We actually don't love it. We don't like it or love it. But Dobbs, if that's the name, that's who we're going with. Casey Wilder. Yeah. I'd like to know wilder than what. Sky, are you with me? Huh? We want to know wilder than what? Wilder than KC, or KC's wilder than something else? Regardless, we've had these guys have been in questions before today, so a lot of people in the same situations. Derek, we're going to turn it to you. You like Nuke, Elijah Moore, or Nico Collins? And we're going to assume half-point PPR.
Yeah, so we briefly hit on Elijah Moore earlier, and I mentioned he was one of my lesser known plays or lesser standout plays. I like him against the Pittsburgh defense. He pretty much runs out of the slot, and Pittsburgh's a little bit vulnerable, or shown to be at least a little bit vulnerable there. I like Elijah Moore.
Bob, what do you think? With the CJ Stroud news, Stroud's playing.
I wasn't really worried about that. I think in this one, it's more about the Cooper injury. I think Elijah Moore is going to have a much more expanded role. I think last week, the Browns passing attack was not good against Cincy, and they're probably not going to be good again, but I do think he's going to have a nice PPR floor. I just don't know what to think of a 60% DeAndre Hopkins. I know the matchup's good. We talked about that in the show on Friday, but give me the healthy guy. I'm going to go Elijah Moore.
Guy.
I've got these guys all chunked up here. I like Nico Collins to be the top dog in this, and then Elijah Moore with Amari Cooper out and Hopkins as well. So this one's tricky. I think they're all kind of the same for me, but I like Nico Collins a lot in that target share.
Yeah, I'm going with Nico Collins, fully healthy Nico Collins over Hopkins and Elijah Moore. Again, Bob's got Hopkins checking in about 65%. I am going to go out on that limb and say I think DPJ outperforms Elijah Moore. That sounds crazy based on what we saw from his stats against Pittsburgh last year. But give me DPJ over Elijah Moore. But for this question, I'm going to go Nico Collins. Fully healthy, CJ Stroud is in. So I'm going Nico Collins. So Sky, you and I are on the same page there. Ron Solo is here. Good to have you, Ron Solo. In fact, Bob, do you have a Star Wars shirt on? Is it an R2-D2 shirt?
Razzball.
Razzball.
Oh, I saw the R2. It's a Z. My bad. All right, we'll start with you. Are we going DJ Moore or Garrett Wilson? I think this is easy for all of us.
DJ Moore.
Guy.
Yeah, same. Shout out to Ron. Good friend.
Nice. Derek, 3. All right, we're going 4. We took Fields a little bit earlier.
Always Fields.
See Zach. Yeah. What?
Sky, always Fields.
You're breaking up.
Always,
I can't hear you. Must be the background noise.
Fields.
Sometimes Fields. Ron, good morning to you too. Those questions came in backwards. I think you probably said good morning to us first. I'm going to assume that. The Cove fella. Oh, this is nice. I like the names are starting to get fly for us. DeAndre Hopkins, Mike Evans. I think we've already been over this. We all agree on Mike Evans over Nuke Hopkins. Yes? Is that a 4?
I do, yes.
Yeah, and he clarifies it in the next one. It's a PPR, so that just makes it even stronger.
Yep, absolutely. We're going to go Mike Evans. Mike Football said his wire is dead. He does have Cortland Sutton, Nuke, Brown. Anybody want to tell me what Brown that is?
It's got to be Marquise in
Hollywood.
It's not going to be Amon Ra, and it won't be AJ Brown. He already played.
No. Okay, so Derek, what do you think? Hollywood, Hopkins, or Cortland Sutton?
Yeah, this is. I don't know. I don't love any of the 3, honestly. I think the most dynamic of the three is going to be Hollywood Brown, but I mean, again, it's the Cardinals. If there's any thought that the Giants are even remotely like they were last week, you're going Hollywood Brown in this PPR. If you think that they totally turn it around, then you could talk me into, since it's a PPR, you could talk me into Hopkins. But I think if I have to close my eyes and click the button, it's going to be Hollywood Brown.
Bob, what do you think?
I'm going to go Sutton. Based on last week, I mean, the Giants have a pretty good perimeter cornerbacks. They get dominated in the middle of the field. So, and that's kind of off of last year too. So I think Sutton, to me, he's healthy. Commanders, we'll see what they actually really are. They played Arizona last week, so it's hard to tell if they're actually really good or not. So I'm going to give it one more shot and say Denver, Cortland Sutton.
In PPR, I'm going to go Hopkins because whether he's healthy or not, he's going to get 10-plus targets. Judy is back. Don't love that for Sutton. And Marquise Brown, I just can't trust. 5 targets is the number one. Don't like that. Hopkins, Sutton, Brown.
Yeah, I'm going with Sky here. Over the last few years, we've seen Nuke either be suspended or on the injury report in some fashion. He always seems to catch the football. He always seems to have great hands, run great routes, and finds a way to get it done. He's not a Hall of Famer based on what he's doing now, but he's probably a Hall of Famer on what he used to do. So I like Hopkins, then Sutton, and then Hollywood's way down the list for me, just because of Josh Dobbs and that terrible offense. All right, Casey Wilder, Montgomery. All right, so Darius said DPJ is available. That's back to the Romeo Dobbs question. We agreed we're going to start Dobbs over DPJ in that. Odie, Mike Williams or Josh Kelly, PPR, same game, different positions. Bob, what do we think?
Mike Williams.
Derek.
Easily, Mike Williams.
Guy, yeah, all 4 of us are in on Mike Williams over Josh Kelly. Darius is back in. DPJ, nope, we're going to say keep Romeo Dobbs as the starter. Morning Cameron Hill, pick 2. I'm assuming that's Garrett Wilson, Jerry Jeudy, Terry McLaurin, Zay Flowers, and Puka. I will lead this one off. If I got to pick 2, I'm going Zay Flowers at the top of the list, and then I'm going Jerry Jeudy with Wilson, Puka behind him, and McLaurin's probably an afterthought for me.
Same.
Sky, what do you think?
I'm with you. I'm going to go Flowers and Jeudy.
All right, Derek?
Flowers and Wilson for me.
Yep, and I don't think that – I think that's look at Bob. He looks like he's smelled –
He's going to say McLaurin and Puka
McLaurin.
Bob, what do you think?
No, I wouldn't take McLaurin. No, that's not going to happen. I think Flowers after last week is probably a good bet here. I hate what happened to Garrett Wilson. I hate what's going on here. Zach Wilson plus the Cowboys defense. No thanks. Jerry Jeudy, the injuries, I don't know. I would love to say Jerry Judy's going to be in for me, but at the same time, these hamstring injuries always could be weird. But he was a full participant. Give me Flowers. Give me Jeudy.
Is that Garrett Wilson or Elijah Wilson? All right, never mind. Yeah, Garrett Wilson. Yeah. Disregard.
Disregard.
Elijah Wilson.
All right. Bob, we talk about this when you're hosting the show. We like people with manners. Cove comes in with a question, comes in with a thank you. Cove, fella, you're welcome. Drew Baker. Is this a first time for Drew Baker? Anybody recognize the name? I do not. Maybe first time, long time type.
Nice.
Welcome in.
Welcome in, absolutely. D-Hop, Puka, or Pacheco. Derek, you were the one that talked to us first about the Chiefs' backfields. What do you think about Pacheco?
Yeah, I really need to know if this is a PPR or not. That's gonna be important here. I like Pacheco in a PPR. It's substantially, if it's a half or even the standard, not so much. We're out on Puka. We've all been out on Puka today, and I'll stay there. So if it's a PP,
careful how you say that.
For today.
Okay. So, I mean, I'll put up with some, but not
I'm
all
stashing Puka, but just
sure,
not.
There we go.
He's just not sniffing. He's not sniffing the lineup today. So full PPR, I'm going Pacheco. Half I'm probably going to go Pacheco. Of course, standard league, I'm going D-Hop.
Bob, what do you think?
Just to give some context, just because, always assume half point if we don't have the format. But Drew, if you could throw it down there, that'd be great. Probably going to go Pacheco. He did look pretty good against the Jacksonville Jaguars last year, but he just didn't score a touchdown. He had like 16 carries, 80-plus yards, 1 catch. He got you double-digit fantasy points in PPR or half. He just didn't score a touchdown. So I think last week they were easing him in due to the injury. Give me Pacheco.
Same, Pacheco.
All right, I think that's 3. I'll make it 4 for Pacheco. With D-Hop, if there's no PPR involved, I'll go Hopkins. All right, Ron Solo again. Look at this. One last one from him: Lamar or Tua. Oof! I can hear the slot machines going in the background for these two quarterbacks. Bob, which one of these are you starting today? You like Tua against the Patriots? Or do you like Lamar to bounce back?
Lamar's stats recently against the Bengals have been kind of alarming. Like, he has not been that good. Those games have kind of been these weird low-scoring AFC North games. All his big production came in his MVP season back in 2019. Like, I did a tweet yesterday about history, and like the biggest games came in that MVP season. But over the last 3 years, he hasn't really been good against this team. Tua last year in his lone start against England went 270-1. Kind of boring, to be honest with you. So I'm actually going to lean Lamar anyway. I'm going to go Lamar.
Derek, I think I know where you're going with this, but I'll ask you anyway.
Well, it's not as clear as you think. I think my question, if Ron was still on, my question would be, does he have any stacks in his roster? I mean, does he have any Ravens or Dolphins, in a wide receiver? If so, that would be it would help me make that decision. I would want to, create that stack if it was there. Or conversely, if he had running backs of the Dolphins or the Ravens, then I would probably go the other way. So we don't know that. So in a bubble, I would I think I'm going to take Tua today. I like that momentum that we saw last week. We saw it last year. Okay, here we go. He's got Flowers and Hill. Oh, he's got both of them. So never mind. So I like the Tua to Hill connection more, the probability there more than the Lamar to Flowers. So I'm going Tua.
Yeah, without repeating what Derek said, 99% of that, I totally agree. Bill Belichick has owned Tua since he came into the league. We know that he rips up rookies. He did that, and then he came back and he got hurt. But I do think that the Ravens
Tua is 4-0 against Belichick.
Right, but statistically, I don't think he's very good. I would have to cross-check that. But
I can do that right now.
It takes one play for Tyreek Hill and or Jalen Waddle to change a game. And other than Lamar Jackson maybe becoming the running game for the Ravens right now, I think it's going to be a sloppy. Both teams have some work to do. So I'm going to lean Tua here, but I just looked at my rankings, and they're pretty much back-to-back.
Tua has never scored 20 fantasy points against the Patriots.
Yeah. Well, I'm just nervous about that. Yeah. And look, and you got to take like the Bill Belichick thing. He takes the main guy, right, the number one, and he eliminates them. Now, hard to eliminate Tyreek Hill, I get it. But if he slows him down, that could be a big piece. The problem is there's another Tyreek Hill on the other side that they can't account for twice. So either one of those guys is going to go nuts. So I'm going to lean Tua.
Yeah, I think we're all leaning Tua. I do love the stack if Zay Flowers and Lamar Jackson. Most leagues, you're not going to have both.
I like Zay Flowers.
Yeah,
play Zay Flowers. I just don't like Lamar.
Yeah, I love it. I just don't know that many leagues people are as lucky as Ron to have all of that, all of that firepower. So I think today we're going with the stack of Tyreek and Tua, and we throw Zay in as a flex if you've got the opportunity.
Good luck, Aaron.
All right, Greg Chirinkin. Is that we close enough? Chirinkin? I know Bob usually butchers names.
Yeah,
So I
Shrinkin,
want.
It's pretty bad.
Shrinkin's
It's pretty
okay.
bad.
Shrinkin's okay for now.
All right.
Is this like the 90th D? I've been on the call for about 20 minutes, and we've had 99% D hop questions. This is
I
wild.
know,
What?
right?
So we're
It's-
gonna go ahead, Bob.
Yeah, no, it's just the injury thing. Like I don't. The matchup's good. We talked about it on Friday's show. It's just that like I don't love the idea of starting a guy who's dealing with an injury. He jumps up one play, comes down on it wrong. He's done for the day. It's D-Hops is like a barometer of like, do you feel comfortable with like maybe like a 5 for 50 performance in PPR? He probably gets you that with all the volume he gets. But if I feel like there's a good matchup with a good player, I'm not going to start D-Hop. Like this scenario, I'm starting Elijah Moore and Jamal Williams. That's because I like Elijah Moore with Amari Cooper out. I like that the Steelers struggle against slot receivers. I like Jamal Williams' matchup against Carolina. Michael Thomas against Carolina himself, I want to see what the JC Horn post experience is for the Panthers secondary after they had a strong performance in week 1, but that's why I think I'd fade D-Hop. But like if he was healthy, this would be D-Hop all the way. If he was 100%, I'm putting D-Hop in always.
Yeah, for me, it's D-Hop and Jamal Williams. I don't trust Mike Thomas, Elijah Moore. Monday Night Football, I don't like waiting around. Derek, what do you think?
No, I'm with Bobby here. Elijah Moore and Jamal Williams for me.
Yikes.
There you go.
I feel like I should just keep my comments to myself. Then it's gonna be more confusing. I actually very much trust Michael Thomas and Derek Carr. I like Elijah Moore and I like Jamal Williams. But D-Hop's the best player on the board when he's healthy. So we're either going to crush D-Hop and help a lot of people, or we're all going to get smashed if he comes out for 10 catches for 80 and falls over and catches a touchdown.
I certainly hope he kills.
I know it's nature of the beast. I'm actually going to go against the grain. I'm outnumbered, but I got to voice it. I'm going to go Michael Thomas, and I will go Jamal Williams as well. I think the Saints will play well Monday night.
All right, we're going to move on.
Before we move on, I just have one thing I want to say too. This is they played each other last year, the Chargers and the Titans. So last season, Ryan Tannehill threw for 165 yards. So just last season, this matchup, and the Chargers secondary struggled last week, of course, against the Dolphins, but it's the same 3 corners from last year. So maybe it was a Tyreek Hill thing. Clearly it was. But just to give context for the Titans passing game, the reason why is Derrick Henry had 21 carries for 104 yards in that game. So this could be another similar situation here, but that's just to give context of what the pie could be. Even if Hopkins gets you a 30% target share, that's 30% of 164 yards. So just as a starting point. That's all right. Move on. Sorry. Just wanted to say that.
Yeah, I just want Ron to be able to brag here. He's got Tua and Lamar. He loved to put flowers in Hill. That had to feel real good to type in. And then Sky, he's checking out with you. He wants to get together soon. Again, respect to Mike Football. Thanks, guys. You're welcome. Come back next week. We'll be here for you. And sooner or later, we'll get you to really tell us what the F means. I know what it means, but the other guys don't necessarily believe me. I think another new name to the show.
I'm sorry. I've done a little thinking now. It's got to be Mike Florio, right? I mean, he doesn't want to show his identity because he's busy doing his own show. I get it, but like Mike Florio, I would assume is on Razzball. So
that's probably he probably is going by Mike Football's like his pen name.
Yeah,
you're probably right. Yeah, it's probably Florio. But you know what? We don't need to call him out. We don't want to embarrass him. He gets his data from
friend
us.
of the show, Mike Florio.
Yeah,
good luck,
there we
everybody.
Go. Yeah. I believe this is a new name as well. Micah Goost, welcome to the show. This is a great question. I'm probably going to stay away from it. So I'll turn it over to you, Derek. Half-point PPR. You have to flex 2 of these guys today. A.J. Dillon, Najee Harris, and Joshua Kelly.
Yeah, so
right.
Yeah, so this actually turns out to be pretty easy for me. Najee Harris on the ground twice, both times against Cleveland last year with rushing touchdowns. So I like them to continue that. Of course, you know, we've already talked about A.J. Dillon and his expected role today, so I like that as well. And you know, even though we generally like Josh Kelly's volume, we know Tennessee is not porous for running backs. So to me, this one's pretty easy. A.J. Dillon and Najee Harris. Scott?
Man, I was just about to agree with you on Joshua Kelly. Damn. All right. So A.J. Dillon for sure. And I do like Najee Harris, but I've been trying to fade him a little bit. In a full PPR, I lean Josh Kelly because I think he just gets dump downs, and that's how they're going to beat him, but he's not going to do well in the run game. Browns played pretty stout, so I'm going to go A.J. Dillon and Josh Kelly.
Yeah, I'm with Guy. I don't want anything to do with Najee Harris. 3.7 yards per carry, 5.7 yards per catch. I said by week 12 it'll be Jaylen Warren's team, and I stick by that. Jesse Infinite. So Jesse. Need to bench one. Puka, Garrett Wilson, Christian Kirk. Are we all in on sitting Puka this week, or are we scared about the Zach to Garrett Wilson connection?
I'm both. I'm scared about Garrett Wilson, but here's the deal. Garrett Wilson's not going to be what he was going to be with Aaron Rodgers, obviously, but he still had 5 targets. He did catch a touchdown, and he caught the touchdown with a horrible throw, but he's able to do that. They're going to have 8 possessions in this game. So I got to go Garrett Wilson eventually. I'm worried about Puka. I think the Niners take care of the Rams today pretty easily, and it's going to be a shootout with KC and Jags. So process of elimination, I don't like any of these, to be perfectly honest, but I'll go with Wilson and Kirk.
Derek, is that 2?
It's 2.
Bobby, is that 3? That's 4. I don't like sitting Puka, but Garrett Wilson's the better wide receiver in the National Football League, and Christian Kirk's not going to go 1 for 9 again. It's just not going to happen. Super CNB Challengers. Super CNB Challengers. Sit 1 PPR. Miles Sanders, David Montgomery, Breece Hall. Bobby. Sitting 1.
Sitting Breece Hall.
Guy.
Sit Miles Sanders.
Derek.
Now, so Bobby earlier had mentioned the adjusted line yard metrics, the tool that we have, and that's if you look at that, Miles Sanders has a really juicy matchup today. Breece Hall does not. So I'm going Sanders and Montgomery.
Correct. My only concern, really quick, and you're right, and definitely use the tool. I like that nugget there, Derek. My only concern is Chuba Hubbard, who I don't think is great, is getting a lot of work. 12 carries, 3. I'm just a little bit nervous about that. So, yes, it is a juicy matchup. I just don't think Miles Sanders is that good. I've been saying that for 4 years, and I'm a sick.
This is the Kenny Gainwell. He's upset that Kenny Gainwell might have lost his starting job to Swift on Thursday night, so now he's taking it out on Sanders.
Look, Miles Sanders, with the amount of work that he's gotten, should be much, much better than he is, period. He got double-digit touchdowns. I get all that. I'm an eye test guy, and I don't feel it. So, I'll correct myself if I'm wrong, but full PPR might bail him out on this one, but I'm going to go David Montgomery late in the game, and I think Breece gets a lot of work today.
Bob, you're so right. You saw right through it, right? The veiled love for Kenny Gainwell is the reason for the Miles Sanders hate. I don't blame you, Sky. I'm just saying it is what it is. We have to end up in therapy sooner or later in our life. You're going to have to come to grips with the fact that you have an unimaginable, crazy love for Kenny Gainwell, and it's probably affecting your day-to-day operations. It's okay. The therapist will work through that with you. I might have the same thing with Baker Mayfield. We'll talk about that later. Half-point PPR, 2 flexes. Derek, over to you. Dylan, Kelly, Najee, and Zay. I think we just had this question, but Zay Jones was thrown into the mix. Do we change from does Zay Jones move the needle for you over Najee and your other pick?
No, it doesn't. I will caveat that by saying I do like Zay Jones a little better than some of the receivers we've been talking about for the last 45 minutes. But that being said, no, I'm still on Dylan and Najee.
Guy.
half PPR. I'm going to lean running backs here, and I'm gonna stick with Dylan and Kelly.
Yeah. To make it quick, I'm with Dylan and Kelly. Bob, over to you. This is we had this question a little bit earlier, and Micah just threw in Zay Jones as an option as well.
Yeah, Najee was all right against the Cleveland Browns last year. Got about, this is half, you said, PPR?
That's what I said.
That's what Derek said.
He was all right. So, man, Zay Jones, though, he's got a good matchup today.
But he's Zay Jones, so that's what I think.
All right. Yeah, I hear you. I actually don't mind Harrison Dylan. I'm not impressed by him as a runner. He doesn't really wow me. I think maybe because he's always next to Aaron Jones, but he's going to get the work today. And so I'm going to go Dylan and Najee.
How about this for everybody real quick? You get one word, Jones or Flowers, as far as Zays go. Derek.
Flowers, easily. That's 2 words.
Plant those flowers, baby.
Okay, so we're not going to go to Bob.
I'm going to water flowers.
Bob, we're not going
I'm going to water those flowers, all right?
I said one word. The first 2 went more than one word. So, Bob, you tell me what you want to do here. We've got to set lineups. We got about 15 minutes to do our own lineups.
Let's get through the questions.
Get
through the last few questions. We're skipping it. We'll skip it.
All right, so let's rapid fire these. Derek, we'll start with you. We'll go to Sky, and then Bob, then back up to me. So we'll start with Derek each time. Need to bench one. Kirk, Hopkins, Garrett, Puka.
Benching Puka, of course.
Sky.
Bench Kirk.
Oof. Bobby.
Same, bench Kirk.
Yeah, I'm benching Puka. All right. Start Anthony Richardson or Daniel Jones today, Derek.
Jones.
Sky.
Richardson.
Bobby. Jones for me as well. Three on Jones. Half point PPR, 3 flex spots needed. So pick 3 of these names: Puka, Gus, Traylon, Pickens, Kendrick Bourne. Derek.
Pick 3, half PPR. I'm taking Edwards on some volume, and then I like Pickens and Bourne.
Guy.
Edwards, Pickens, Bourne.
Edwards, Burks, Bourne.
No Deontay Johnson. That's interesting. I would say Pickens, Burks, Edwards.
All right. Edwards, Pickens, Puka. I'm going to at least play Puka once today. Jesse, you're absolutely welcome. We'll see you next week, we hope. Check in early, check in often. I don't even need to go into this again. We've already done that. Patricio, welcome back. I know you were in early. We'll try to get you early again next week. Hope to see you. I believe we had Matt check in. This is I'll take this question for the group. Is he safe to start if he's playing? Safe is relative. I need more information to help you answer that question. If you have Aaron Jones or Puka, yes, he's absolutely safe to play. But if you have other wide receiver options, we'd like to see those names before we make it definitive. William Jones. Who?
William Jones.
Thank you. Defense, pick 1, Ravens, Colts, Washington, or Green Bay. I think Bob's in on the Colts for this.
Correct.
Derek and Sky will let you decide.
We talked a little bit more in depth earlier when we had some time. We don't now, but for the same reasons that Bobby shared earlier, on this one, I'm with the Colts.
Guy.
Yeah, Colts as well. I dropped the Ravens this morning.
Okay, so we'll go 4-4-4 for the Colts. Mike Murphy, shout out to Mike Murphy. Full PPR, pick 1. Judy Moore, Gabe Davis. I think we're all going DJ Moore today. He's going to have a bounce back. If you disagree with me, you've got 3 seconds to do it. DJ Moore in 3, 2, 1. DJ Moore it is. Kyle Brickner, you guys rock. Thank you, Kyle. Don't know why it took almost 3 hours for somebody to say it, but Bob, I believe that's it. That's the wait. We got one more. BNAP, Mike Evans or Mike Williams. I think we're all going Mike Williams.
Williams.
All right, Bob. I'm turning it back over to you. Derek and I are going to have to chat once we sign off to do these lineups.
All right, folks, thanks for joining us once again. It's the Razzball Fantasy Sunday Live Start Sit Show. We were live for 2 hours today. We'll be live every single Sunday, so make sure you jump on, subscribe to our channel. We're going to have, most days we'll have weather updates, and we'll also have more details on injuries, but today we had a bunch of start sits, so join us every Sunday. And make sure you subscribe to the channel because we have episodes all week long. I want to thank all our co-hosts today. You got Matthew Styles. Go follow him at Styles08. Derek Favre. You can follow him Derek_Favre. And Sky Gawasco. You can follow him at Sky Gawasco on Twitter. I'm your host, Bobby Lamarco. Thank you, guys. We are out of here.